I think I would like to recognize our legislators that are present, Majority Leader Benelli and legislators Hines, Riskevich, Sierra, Sutherland, Kulisek, and Tui. I think I have everyone. If I missed someone, I'm sorry, I don't see your box on the screen. So,
Rob Sassy.
Legislator Sassy and Lujan, thank you very much for joining.
Tom Fagione.
No.
Yes.
Mr. Fagione
We have Lori, yes.
and Ms. Tortel.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and Rob Sassy?
Yep.
Yes, here.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so let's call this public hearing of the 2021 Orange County budget for Thursday, October 22nd, 2020 at 5 p.m. to order. Would everyone please stand for a moment of silence and a pledge to the flag? There you go, Rodney. Thanks, Rodney. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the United States of America
America.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all.
Okay, so would the clerk please read the notice of the public hearing? Jean or Kelly?
Yes. Notice of legislative hearing on proposed 2021 Orange County budget, proposed 2021 Orange County Sewer District Number 1 budget, proposed 2021 Orange County Sewer District Number 1 budget, an assessment roll for said sewer district, proposed 2021 Orange County Small Watershed Protection District Number 1 for Cromline Creek budget, an assessment roll for said water district, and proposed 2021 Beaver Dam Lake District and assessment roll for said district. Notice is hereby given that the Orange County Legislature will meet remotely via video conference on the 22nd day of October 2020 at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time of that day for the purposes of receiving public comment telephonically on the proposed budget of the County of Orange and on Social Services District of said county for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2021, on the budget and assessment roll for Orange County Sewer District Number 1 for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2021, on the budget and assessment roll for Orange County Small Watershed Protection District Number 1 for Cromline Creek for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2021, on the budget and assessment roll for Beaver Dam Lake District for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2020. Further notice is hereby given that the assessment rolls for Orange County Sewer District Number 1, Orange County Small Watershed Protection District Number 1 for Cromline Creek and Beaver Dam Lake District for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2021, have been completed and are on file at the office of the clerk of the Orange County Legislature, 255 Main Street, 2nd floor, Goshen, New York, where the same may be inspected by any interested person during regular business hours. At the public hearing herein above mentioned, the Orange County Legislature will meet remotely via video conferencing to hear and consider any objections which may be made to said assessment rolls. All documents referenced in this notice are available on the Orange County Legislature's website. The public may view the public hearing via live streaming. Please go to Orange County website at www.orangecountygov.com/legislature/legislative calendar for the link. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, members of the public are invited to participate via teleconference by calling the telephone number and access code listed on the Orange County website under Important Documents, Notice of Public Hearing. Please call in at 4:45 p.m. on the day of the public hearing to register to speak or send written comments to the clerk of the legislature at jrampin@orangecountygov.com. This notice was published in the October 7th issues of Times Community newspapers, Hudson Valley Press, Wallkill Valley and Mid-Hudson Times, Warwick Valley Dispatch, the October 9th issues of the Orange County Post, Strauss newspapers, Warwick Advertiser, Monroe Photo News, the Chronicle, the News of the Highlands, the Formal Local, and the Gazette.
Thank you, Jean. Okay, so members of the public who wish to speak were notified of the telephone number to call in to comment on the budget on the Orange County website. They have called in and the deputy clerk has informed them of the 3-minute limit to speak. She has taken their name and assigned them a number, which is the order they will be called on. Kelly, do we still have 2 speakers?
We do have 2 speakers. A few more have called in since. Was there anybody else on the call that were interested in speaking on the public hearing today? Okay, then it looks like our first speaker is Maria Ramirez from City of Newburgh.
Welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. So first and foremost, thank you for having this public hearing. And before I start with my comments on the budget, I just believe that we should make these much more common and much more frequent for instilling more trust and transparency with the community. There is a lot to disseminate here with this budget. And yeah, so that's my first and foremost comment. So I'm a representative, co-founder of the Newburgh LGBTQ Center. And so just going through the budget and just wanted to share that little bit about myself. We demand that the Orange County honor its commitment to promoting care that is individualized, culturally responsive, trauma-informed, and accessible by refusing to craft a budget that implements austerity measures and increases spending for the carceral system at the expense of mental health programming. According to a study conducted by the Health Management Associates Corporation, insufficient funds and/or budget cuts to public community-based mental health services result in an expensive impact on jails and state hospitals. As we face the unknown societal and mental health impacts of COVID-19, the county must divert the carceral money in the budget towards community-based mental health solutions, because we know that right now that is one of the bigger issues facing Orange County families is the mental health issues that it's already not talked about as much. And so in order to increase public safety, particularly for those community members most targeted and vulnerable, we recommend implementing the following supportive housing for people with mental health needs, an increased number of caseworkers, expanded hours, and increased accessibility of mental health services, and mental health response teams connected to the 911 dispatch. Some other points that I did want to point out that I saw throughout the budget is that there is carceral money in the mental health budget that's, money going to prison programs that must be diverted to community-based mental health programs. Again, just harping back on my earlier points, police in Orange County have a history of targeting Black people with mental health needs. And so, some cases of that, for example, was in 2013, Middletown officer shot and killed Leonard Whittle in 2012, Michael Lombard with ADHD. And so these are just a couple instances of where, if we would have had either more social workers or more caseworkers or mental health professionals, instead of increasing the budget for adding on more police or increasing the carceral system, I think that would have for sure made a difference in those situations. Jail is an unsafe place for the individuals with mental health needs. Funneling money for mental health treatment into the prison system is harmful and ineffective.
Excuse me, Ms. Ramirez, your 3 minutes are up.
Got it. Thank you.
Couple more sentences. It's okay just to finish and wrap up is fine.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, increase, supportive housing for people with mental health needs, increase number of caseworkers, expand hours, and increase accessibility of Orange County mental health services, reform the response to reports. And I will close off with that.
Thank you very much for participating. Kelly, number 2.
Thank you.
Our second speaker is Tyler Carrera from the City of Newburgh.
Hi, thank you for having me on and for holding this public hearing. I wanted to talk a little bit about using our budget to put more funding into housing support, as well as asking for a decrease in the money that is being used for our jails and county sheriffs. With housing support and everything, that ties a lot into the mental health and points that were brought up with the previous speaker. and we can sorry.
Relax, take your time.
Yeah, affordable housing resources in Orange County, unfortunately, particularly in Newburgh, in a place that it's much needed, are seem to be scarce, and there's not, and putting more money into the budget for affordable housing and resources like that. Also considering ways to address chronic homelessness, such as a permanent supportive housing program that has been implemented in a lot of different cities across North America. Some studies actually show that the amount of money that places that put in that kind of program spend on homeless people per year ends up being cut in half. So it would actually be saving us money to be providing better support to people, which I think just sounds like a win-win. Also, one of the things that comes up a lot for me, being somebody who doesn't have a car, it's a little bit easier for me to get around Newburgh. We do have buses, we have, taxis and whatnot. However, I'm also speaking from somebody who's rather able-bodied and has been able to, I've walked 2 miles to my work and 2 miles back to my work in order to make sure that I make it on time when the buses aren't running on time. And due to the fact that the much of our transportation runs through the county and everything, it makes sense for our budget to include more money in transportation, especially when we consider the fact that in order to get to the county seat for a lot of when we go back to in-person things and everything after the pandemic, hopefully, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get from Newburgh to Goshen in a timely manner. So it's hard for people in Newburgh who might not have a car or aren't able to get access to somebody with a car to be able to cheaply afford to make it out to county meetings, county things like that. And with our Orange County Jail apparently being at about half capacity, it seems like a place that we could be taking money out of rather than adding to, and be fixing some of these problems that you can kind of, or that as with like housing, mental health, homelessness and everything, those are things that
Mr. Carter, could you conclude, please? 3 minutes are up.
Okay, gotcha. Those are things that can contribute to crime, and so cutting or putting more money into supporting people rather than putting into a jail that's only half full at this moment would actually help us decrease that more. So thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Thank you for participating. Kelly, I saw a couple of things pop up that said in lobby. Are there any other people wishing to speak?
For the people that did just recently join, were you interested in speaking?
Okay, since nobody stepped forward, if there are no other speakers, I will declare the. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, had to go unmute myself.
Could I get your name, please, and where you're from?
Sure. My name is Eleanor Chanella, and I am a City of Newburgh resident.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
And I just want to say thank you for providing this space for public comment. Public feedback is essential in a democracy, and this practice should definitely continue. I think, we're facing a national recession, and federal relief is not guaranteed. And in times like these, local governments tend to slash the very programs that help residents the most. I agree with one of the comments before. Our criminal and legal departments are not one of those helpful programs. This is a system that often causes more harm than good. So I'd like to see the county defund our failed and failing criminal legal systems and instead reallocate that money to preserve and reinforce the budgets of other departments that are more effective in actually keeping our community safe. For me, this includes education, public health services, public works, social services. I want to use my time here today to advocate specifically for spending on public works and infrastructure. Public works projects are often stalled and put off indefinitely by stop and start funding. And this year you proposed a 6% decrease for this department. Instead, I'd please consider funding the already proposed projects in the Mid-Hudson Regional Sustainability Plan. This includes projects like Project 52, the Sparrowbush Preserve Deer Park, which would provide public access fishing and boating. Project 174, the Harriman Transit-Oriented Development, which would build a mixed-use community near public transit, which is severely lacking in Orange County. Or Project 180, which would fund inventory taking of potential tree locations with the intention of increasing urban tree cover, which improves air quality, energy efficiency of cities in Orange County. These projects should be staffed by local residents and if funded properly will provide public spaces, housing, jobs, help decrease the county's carbon footprint, all of which are more useful to Orange County residents than the penalization of petty crimes that are often the result of a lack of stability and support within our own communities. So in conclusion, please cut funding from any and all carceral line items, such as from the sheriff's office, police services, jails, the district and county attorneys, and instead fund much needed county infrastructure. And that's all I have to say on the budget. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Kelly, anybody else waiting?
It does look like we had another person join the public hearing. Was anybody else interested in speaking?
Hello?
Hi, how you doing? What is your name and where you're from?
My name is Ariel Churchill, and I'm a resident of Newburgh.
Okay, Mr. Churchill, there's a 3-minute time limit if you'd like to go ahead.
Absolutely. Sorry, 1 second.
Take your time.
All right, ready. Thank you so much for giving me the time to speak. Since we have a limited amount of time, I wanted to focus on the portion of the budget dedicated to education, and particularly the funding for the Orange County Community College. Basically, education funding must be prioritized in 2021. The COVID-19 pandemic has affected just about every area of our lives, including, but perhaps especially, education, and not just K through 12, but college education as well. While the CARES Act has provided some emergency relief to students and institutions of higher learning, the formula for distribution of these emergency funds has unfortunately put community colleges at a significant disadvantage, funding being tied to the number of full-time students, while 2/3 of all community college students attend part-time. These students are also more likely to be low-income students of color who may be supporting their own families, who have already been disproportionately affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. And although part-time students take fewer classes than full-time students, their needs for support, services, advising, and other forms of assistance are not diminished. They may even be greater as part-time students balance the demands of school, work, and family life. Students who complete an associate's degree have higher rates of employment, significantly higher earnings compared with those with only a high school degree or GED. As we work to pull ourselves out of the recession brought on by the pandemic, we must employ every tool at our disposal to boost economic development, including education. Yet while the proposed county budget allocates more than $58 million for the operation of the Orange County Jail, less than half that amount has been allocated for Orange County Community College. In fact, for every dollar spent on the criminal legal system, only 20 cents goes toward education. There are 592 beds at the Orange County Jail. Meanwhile, there are more than 4,000 students, and it's closer to 4,500, I believe, enrolled at the Orange County Community College. In terms of jobs, Orange County Community College has projected 868 employees for the year, 12 fewer than last year, while the jail reports 321 employees, 2 more than last year. The college serves a greater population and employs more people, yet receives less than half the funding from the county. Furthermore, prisons and jails are known hotbeds for transmission of COVID, affecting not only those who are incarcerated, but our communities at large, as corrections officers and other jail employees leave work and interact with the community. Investing in our community college is not only a matter of morals or a nice thing to wish for, it is a smart choice if we want to reduce crime, bolster economic development, and set ourselves on the path to heal our community when this pandemic is finally over, which is why I'm speaking out to reduce our budgets for the criminal legal system and increase our funding for education. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for participating. Anyone else, Kelly, that you see?
Nobody else joined, but has anybody changed their mind if they wanted to speak?
Okay. I see that Mr. Cheney joined us at the beginning of the meeting. Welcome, Mr. Cheney.
Thank you. Sorry I got on a little late.
That's okay. Okay, so seeing that there are no other speakers, I declare this public hearing closed. Thank you, everyone, for your comments, and thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Stay safe.
Good night. Thank you very much, everybody. Stay safe.
Good night. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Jean.
You're welcome.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.